Every single one of them, too, would have like an unrated version on DVD, which meant that it was just like the poster, but kind of shrunk and then cleavage over it. And it'd say unrated. But then you watch it and it's just like they say the F-bomb a few more times.
See, they need to be more like Eurotrip, where if it's unrated, and there's just titties and swearing and naked Italian men in a fucking train.
And all the other good stuff that we sadly do not have on this show. Nevertheless, hello and welcome everybody to the AWKWARDCast. And Keyframe wonder about random dribble. And I love it how everybody's...
That was a good transition. I'm mad because that was a good transition for once.
I love how just everybody's turning away. But yeah, welcome back to the show after a year, I believe. Red Jones, the cinema snob. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. And with a wildly different background this time.
I know.
Yeah, that's true. I
mean, last time you were balancing, I think, like your phone or your laptop, like on something, and we spent like a good 20 minutes trying to figure out why the sound didn't work. We're evolving.
Right. I was using my phone as a monitor, I think, and probably had it on a stack of VHSs. That sounds like
we should always catch you when you're in the office and distract you from actually working. This works great. Never.
I just got done working too. That's why normally I could probably be doing this from my apartment, but it was perfect timing. Like I got done working like a minute before jumping on.
Next year when we get him, he's gonna film himself from the back of his truck.
I mean, why not?
I'll get the Cybertruck by then.
Nevertheless, for the people watching who have no clue who you are, please give us a short rundown. Who you are, what do you do, and why should people care?
Ooh, if they don't know who I am, I could say someone wildly more popular than me. I am Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic. I'm Brad Jones. I play the Cinema Snob. You can see me on YouTube. My YouTube channel, Stoned Gremlin Productions. And I'm also on channelawesome.com as well, so you can see me on there too. I'm recording in the studio right now because I still got a video rendering in the other room. But I cover like exploitation movies, horror movies, religious movies. And if there's a day where I don't want to do too much work, I'll just film myself eating food and post that.
Hell yeah.
That's the dream.
When the fair comes into town, content comes a-flowing.
Yeah, that's the one episode a year of that show where it does take a slight bit of work, only because we got to go outside, and it's August, so it's really hot when we do that.
Oh, Chicago in August is the worst. It's like Indiana in August, but with meaner people. Like,
I know, it's because in the winter we all stay inside.
Yeah, you just kind of bundle up your anger in hibernation, and then during the summer it's just like popping like poppies in the wind, like cherry blossoms.
All our pent up frustrations from being freezing for a few months.
But yeah, Brett, while you already had shared a little bit about your upcoming video for tomorrow, earlier in the pre-show, what else is going on in the life of the cinematic snob?
Oh, basically just getting a lot of stuff done before my wife and I go out of town for the holidays. That's why I'm here today. Normally I take weekends off, but that's why I came in the studio to do some editing. I'm basically just doing a lot of Snob episodes in advance so I can have done before the 21st. My birthday is the 20th, so I know how I'll be celebrating my birthday.
Man, holidays are great. They are as great as an elf shoe in the ass.
That's a mental image we now have to continue
just
with.
Keep it in your mental image. At the end of the shoes are curved and they stay up.
I think I reviewed that movie.
Oh wait,
I got to put that on the docket over the next few days. I got time.
Honey, we need to stay home for Christmas. Why? I found a Santa Claus porno that involves a shoehorn, and I can't pass this up.
Yeah, it's just too good to be true. My Christmas wish came early this year.
Oh man.
But yeah, so I take it mostly work recently.
Yeah, like watching and editing stuff in the day and in the evening. If there's something playing out in theaters, Star Wars is coming. I got to do Star Wars Thursday and like Cats on Friday. I think 1917 on Wednesday or something. So I do have a lot of work until then, but granted, keep in mind, a lot of my work just involves going to the movies.
I feel so bad for you. Since you'll be gone for the holidays, you won't be able to do a midnight screenings of the best movie to come out this year, Spies in Disguise.
Oh, this looks so amazing.
Like, that's the great thing about that show, midnight screenings, because it's so easy to do. It's just putting camera on dashboard and hitting record and just posting the raw file. When my wife and I do go out of town, we do still do that. Because usually, like, we'll still be going to movies just to hang out and everything. Last Christmas, I remember that was the case when we went to Holmes and Watson. Since we were and since it was vacation, we were super baked when we went to go see it.
I mean, that's the only way you're probably going to find that movie entertaining.
It was the way that made it go quicker. Because beforehand, my wife's like, "Do you want to?" And I'm like, "I'm good," because I got to review this afterwards. But then I went, "Wait a minute, this might make this a little more painless." Like. And it did. It felt like it had only been on a half an hour, and then it.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, I guess if all your life is just movies, editing, and then editing movies. What about you, Mr. Max? You had at least a party happen this week.
That is very true. So we had Christmas party at the office on Friday, and as it is tradition. I ended up at the end of the evening without any voice left. I mean, there has only been one Christmas party where this did not happen because they dared to not have a karaoke machine. And consequently, I was at home at 11. So that was a horrible year.
I find this man so fascinating that he basically did almost outright refuse for us to go to karaoke multiple times, but yet at an office Christmas party, he will sing like 20 songs.
Yeah.
And I did better than last year. I did not kill my voice on the third song already. I made it like half a dozen songs until my voice was completely destroyed, and I probably sang 3 more for good measure.
This is a case study in lack of self-control and what happens.
Oh no, this was all very intentional. No, but overall, mostly Christmas party, normal office Christmas party. Like everybody gets together, a little bit of dress up, a big that's what you call a long table.
Just food, smorgasbord.
No, that is a long, not just a single table, but a long row.
A buffet.
No, where the people sit.
A trough.
Oh. The feast, sacrifice.
Maybe there is no word for it in English. Never mind.
I don't know, man.
Okay, now I need to check. No, but it was like getting together, having a little bit of drinks. We had a live band. That was the first one.
Did they do nothing but play 99 Luftballons over and over and over again?
No, they actually played more like older stuff from 80s, 90s, and then again, 99 Luftballons is from the 80s, so this was not really. No, but I believe they didn't play any German songs.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
so they played good music.
Yeah, they even had a Beatles song.
No Peter Schilling.
Oh, then wait, which Beatles song? Can you even remember?
Potentially. Name famous ones.
Okay, can you sing the tune?
No.
How can you know it was a Beatles song?
Because they said it's a Beatles song and they said the title. So if you say the title, I can probably remember.
Just name other songs from.
It was not Jude.
I start naming songs that aren't Beatles songs. I say like "Stairway to Heaven," and he's like, "Yeah, that one."
No, come together.
Last Train to Clarksville, Satisfaction, Catch Us If You Can.
Hotel,
Come together. I said it like 3 times. It was come together.
The theme of Jaws.
Whatever. Anyway, so no. After
was
that,
actually the Aerosmith version of "Come Together."
Oh no! Oh no!
No. Besides that, not too much activity. So because I stayed a little bit longer, I slept in yesterday. But I met with a friend of mine, Rafi, here for cinema. We went to see. Is anybody else claiming Jumanji for their media?
No, I didn't go to the cinema.
Brett?
And I'm sure
Jumanji,
he's saying it.
No, but the question is the question is what's your media for the show?
Like the movie or thing you want to talk about.
Exactly.
Oh, what movie do I want to talk about?
Yeah, not Jumanji, probably.
I mean, I have.
Did anyone else go see Black Christmas over the weekend?
I wanted to so bad because they would not stop showing trailers for Black Christmas during the Game Awards, and I was just like,
okay,
this movie can't be good, but I want to see it.
It's horrendous.
I have seen a trailer for that.
I mean, I could talk about the original Black Christmas, but
the original's great.
But yeah, you went
the
to see Jumanji.
No, but yeah, so met yesterday, which was also a thing. Like we agreed, like, okay, let's see the movie at 10:30. We need to be there half an hour early in order to get the reserved tickets. So I'm like, okay, let's meet at 9:45. How about that? I'm basically at the train station. I get a WhatsApp. Yeah, we will be there. We will be an hour late. Like, come on!
How are you an hour late to a thing you need to get a half hour before the movie?
No, not to the entire movie, but to the
okay, good. I was about to say
to the agreed meeting time. It was like, if we are super lucky, we will be there in 15 minutes or in an hour. I'm like, try to be there as soon as possible. So I basically thank goodness for commercials, I guess. So we went into the cinema like 10 minutes late, but it was still commercials playing. No, and then we got to see Jumanji, which I will then talk about a little bit later. And afterwards, we were like, okay, we wanted to enjoy a little bit the evening because Rafi's sister was to visit in Berlin and was, okay, we have a drink afterwards or something. Movie ends. I get my phone and I'm like, I just realized there's a downside when you go to the cinema at 10:30.
It becomes like 2 a.m.?
1 a.m., but still, it's like, shit, it's 1 a.m. And then the most disturbing thing was we were like, okay, we still want to have a nice drink, so we went out, Potsdamer Platz, not direct center of Berlin, but one of the the central points in Berlin. Nothing had opened. All the Saturday evening, Berlin, everything closed. And we were like, it can't be.
What a putz.
Yeah. Well, so at the end of the day, we basically went around the mall. And on the backside of the mall, there was a small smoking bar. Which is like, I'm not sure, but yeah, exactly. But it was literally the only thing that was open. And actually, it was kind of a high bar, so all the smoke went up and it was empty enough and it didn't stink too much. But so we had a nice cocktail for the finale of the evening. But I was very disappointed in the Berlin nightlife, I have to say. So
I mean, why didn't you guys just go to that Chinese restaurant we found?
Yes.
Oh, I feel like I've told this story on the podcast before, but essentially the first time I visited Berlin to see this dork down here, we went to the movies, and we came out and we were like, we're hungry, let's get some dinner. And we saw like a sign with Chinese symbols on it. We're like, oh, that must be a Chinese restaurant. But there's no entrance to the front. So we walked around the area, and we were like, okay, there's the door. And then as we got closer, I think like Max walked up to the door and he started laughing. And I was like, what? He turns around, looks at me straight in the face and says, that's a bank.
Mm-hmm. Chinese
It says
bank.
First Chinese Bank on it, and I was like, oh. So we're not eating there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else of note, Maxie?
Not really. I mean, I had my fallback for the media in case somebody else was claiming Jumanji, which was to...
Dibs.
Wait.
You're calling dibs.
Are you just calling dibs? Okay.
No, you were calling dibs, you numbnut.
Yeah. No, I wanted to give other people the chance to call dibs, so I had my plan.
How altruistic of you.
I know, right? I mean, it's rare enough that I have two media to go by. But no, to completely frustrate Enigma, I finished another audiobook this month. This week,
Nice.
You don't understand how many times this man has brought audiobooks to the podcast in the past
every
4 months.
Every other week it's a movie from the cinema, so...
I'd rather a movie than an audiobook.
Why?
Because then I have more of a likelihood to know what you're talking about.
This is very egocentric. I'm here to present media. No, but since it's not my official media, to just give a short statement about it, it's a confusing one. So I believe it's actually officially labeled horror.
Is it not fantastic?
Where fun is guaranteed, which is actually the slogan of this amusement park. No, during Hurricane Katrina? No. Sandy? The one that hit Florida.
Both of those hit Florida at some point. Every hurricane hits Florida.
Fair point. Or maybe it's even a fictional one. I'm not entirely sure. But a hurricane hitting Florida?
Hurricane Raoul.
I know. And basically in an amusement park, a skeleton crew of... Enigma is already happy about me. I see in the chat. Skeleton crew gets basically trapped in there. They were supposed to stay there to just keep everything in check after the hurricane passed. But they get trapped in there for over a month and they basically go Lord of the Flies.
Ooh, okay.
But I believe Lord of the Flies had a death count of 1, didn't it?
I think so.
I can't remember.
I mean, obviously, we're living in our time, so everything needs to be bumped up a bit. So first of all, they are in their 20s, and the death count is like 90.
That seems a bit gratuitous, doesn't it?
They go completely tribal and like fighting in the streets tribal. And this is not even a spoiler. This is an introduction because that's why it's actually not uninteresting to check out. The presentation is of a journalist who basically gathers interviews, and you have the real text of the interviews, which, by the way, great voice performance in this particular version of it, in the audiobook version. And so he basically presents the interviews of individual survivors and some people surrounding the park itself. But what's the weird thing, at the end of the day, he leaves the final few people he interviews, creating a level of ambition? No. Doch, ambition.
Ambiguity?
Ambiguity, where you are like, okay, how trustworthy has anybody who he talked to really been? And but it also is a weird thing where I'm not sure if I'm just ignorant to the kind of psychic stuff that goes on when you are trapped in this kind of situation, because it started and I was like, whoa, that's really messed up shit. Then it's a 10-hour audiobook, so over the listening to it, at some point I grew to the point where I was like, okay, yeah, this is, I got used to it. So kind of, I got numb
This
to
is
it.
why they have to amp up the death count to 90 people. For people like you.
No, but the thing is,
Yeah.
I was more grossed out by the psychological horror of it during the first few interviews when he was just carving it out. But over the story of it, it became like, this cannot be. This is too extreme. This cannot be right. And
You'd be surprised.
That's the point. That's the point. Am I just so protected in my growing up that that I cannot buy into the escalation and the savagery they fall into? And
Yes.
Thank you. I guess this was a clear answer to my question.
Look, man, you need to watch more horror films from like the 70s. The 70s and early 80s were like the best time for horror movies because it tapped into what the zeitgeist was at the time, which is irrational fear of the unknown, which makes people do the craziest shit. Like, I mean, the body snatchers. Is like the best example, which is, even though the ending is now one of the most highly parodied endings, and people think it's kind of silly when back in the day, that was one of the most terrifying pieces of content that the world had to have, besides, realizing that Freddy Krueger wasn't dead and the woman gets pulled into the goddamn door window with the mannequin legs.
But yeah, I guess under this aspect, I would turn my question mark into a recommendation, because I also kept thinking about this book. So I listened over it over the last week. I'm not sure which day I started listening to it, but it kept me, when I paused listening, because I did stuff in the meantime, it kept me occupied on my mind. I kept going back there and thinking about it. So I guess thought provocation is definitely a good point about it. Hooray!
Oh wait, this means I have to talk.
Yes.
I'm not good at talking. Contrary to what's happened in the past like half hour.
You are a co-host on a weekly podcast. How are you not good at talking?
So are you, but that doesn't mean that you're good.
That is true. but I make up for it with quantity. That's a good thing, right?
Remember the Screen Actors Guild, but for sucky writers we talked about in the pre-show?
Yeah.
I think we may have found our way in through this guy. No, my week has been very work-orientated because the holidays are coming up, and I'm flying out on this coming Sunday at like 11 p.m. and landing in fucking Indianapolis at 6 a.m. Ha, fun. But, so it's just been work. Like, I put out a video today. I had the fun realization of, I explained this to Max. So I was rendering out the video and I was trying to make it a high bit rate to not get a victim of YouTube's compression. And I was rendering it, and then my computer would just shut down. Not blue screen, mind you. Not restart, just boom. And so I had to shut down half the CPUs. And I have 11 core processors in my goddamn computer, and I had to shut down half of them so it would render and not use 100% of the core processing power. Because apparently it was like, hey, let's do that. We may be a computer that has an algorithmic knowledge that we're going to die if we do this. Let's do it. What the heck? So that was the reason I am running on 2 cups of coffee and a smile this morning. But no, besides that, my week, because I've been working, I wrote like this super long script that I asked Max to read. And I was like, hey, how long is your scripts usually? And he gave me this little thing showing his level of his That Stupid scripts and the timestamps. I was like, oh, my script is like 2.5 times the amount of those. It's 2,800 words. And he texted me like, well, if you talk at a pretty fast pace, you may have like a 15-minute video on your hands.
Yeah.
I want to get this out on Tuesday. So a lot of my week's been consumed by watching media and stuff. Mostly just rewatching a lot of Norm Macdonald, and I've realized more and more that Norm Macdonald is a man I want to meet. It's just gotten to a point where we just put on Norm Macdonald like one of my team calls, And we just start quoting Norm, especially the bit of I think to myself, what would make Seth Meyers laugh? And just nothing that Norm Macdonald would work if it wasn't said by Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
But which goes into like the Comedy Central roast thing that I was talking about, because I get bored and I looked up facts about things. And the thing that I looked up was they sometimes exclude jokes, like they say, don't say this, don't say that. And for the William Shatner one, they told the roasters, hey, because his wife literally drowned like a month ago, no jokes about his wife being dead. And all the comedians were like, oh man. And Norm was like, how heartless do you have to be that you feel bad for yourself that you can't make the dead wife joke? And I'm like, that's a good fucking point.
Yeah.
And then it was also just watching like the Game Awards and being like, I don't know any of these things.
Yeah.
Like I knew Smash Brothers and I knew Death Stranding, and then seeing Vin Diesel have no idea what he's fucking doing on stage, bullshitting with Michelle Rodriguez while the awards are being given out. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? But then I discovered something great, which goes into media. And I found this Netflix series called Historical Roasts. Oh my god. This show's fucking the most fantastic concept ever. Where a bunch of celebrities just dress up as historical figures and do roastings of historical figures. So they have like a Freddie Mercury episode. They have Muhammad Ali. They have the fucking Martin Luther King Jr. And the episode in particular that we watched over and over, Anne Frank, with John Lovitz as FDR.
Yeah.
Mindy Rickles, Don Rickles' daughter, as Don Rickles. And the best casting I've ever seen, Gilbert Gottfried as Adolf Hitler.
Brilliant.
And Fred Willard as God, obviously. And this show is a concept that should not work as well as it does. First of all, half of the show is just roasting Jeff Ross for having no career. Because but it's amazing the casting choices they pick and how it works. Like they have Jaleel White be Muhammad Ali. I repeat, they have Steve Urkel being one of the most well-known boxers in history. And then they have Seth Green being David Bowie for the Freddie Mercury episode. I'm just like, I love it. But the Anne Frank episode, I think, is the best episode out of all of them. Because, I mean, it's also they use it to push the topic of it, of, hate still exists and things. So they're very mindful of, like, the things that they roast still have a significance nowadays. And it's a weird case study in realizing how much history repeats itself.
Yeah.
But I think like the best moment, besides all of Gilbert, just
there he is already.
Yes, But one moment that was great was Mindy being like asking Hitler, "Hey, are you German or Austrian?" Austrian. Oh, is that any better? You ask a German what Hitler is, they say he's Austrian. You ask an Austrian what Hitler is, they say German. Either way, he's awful. And then my favorite line, though, that we kept saying was fucking Jeff Ross talking to Fred Willard as God. And Jeff was like, why did you make it so hard for the Jewish people? I mean, aren't we the chosen ones? Yeah, you were chosen. That doesn't mean you're lucky. Obviously, I don't recommend this show if you are very sensitive and are very particular to historical accuracies. But if you want to see a bunch of character actors do what they do best, which is character acting, like John Lovitz as FDR is way too good of a casting than it has any right to be. I kind of want to see John Lovitz be FDR in a movie because he just did it really well. They even kept the detail of how FDR's legs are fucked up because he has polio, so they have to have Jeff Ross help John Lovitz to the podium. But like, I just, if you like roasts, I know roasts are also a particular taste because, you know, it hits and miss. There's jokes that work, jokes that fall very flat. But it's such a fun concept, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. Each episode's only like 28 minutes long, which is much better than some Comedy Central roasts that go on for an hour and a half too long if it's hour and a half runtime. So, but yeah, that's my week and my media has been interwoven in just laughing at other people's misery.
And it's even available on German Netflix. But then again, the originals all are.
Well, I mean, now you get to, of course Germany would want to put on something that just insults Hitler and constantly points out the fact he has one testicle.
I did not recall that particular fact, but
they made it very clear.
Good thing that this show focuses on it.
The other good one was Hitler saying to FDR, "What does FDR stand for? Falling down repeatedly." Oh, but yeah, so that was mine. Brad, Black Christmas. Tell us the greatness of it.
Well, it wasn't as bad as getting a tooth extracted from my head 2 days prior. No, wait, I take that back. Black Christmas was worse.
Ooh, that's a statement.
Oh yeah, because like getting the back tooth pulled out, it was long and it did take 2.5 hours. It was a lot of numbness, a lot of pulling, yanking, jerking around my head in the chair and everything like that. But it was awkward, but it wasn't like excruciatingly painful until afterwards, when there was that half-hour period between leaving the dentist's office and getting the pain medication. But that was just like a half an hour of pain. And eventually I got the naproxen, and I've been good for a couple of days because I'm on that stuff. Black Christmas is about 90 minutes of pain with absolutely no relief. I couldn't say. So you've seen the trailer for the movie then, right? Mm-hmm. So you've seen the movie. The trailer shows nearly everything about the movie. The trailer shows you who the killers are. Not that it needed to, because you know within 5 minutes who the killers are going to be. But it was exhausting. So you've all seen the original then?
Yeah, of course.
This is like, it tries doing something similar to the original, whereas the original did a really good job of being a very effective, moody, suspenseful horror film, and also dealing with the characters somewhat realistically as well. Like they felt like a real sorority. One of them, like, there's an abortion subplot in the original movie. Mm-hmm. And it feels very real. It feels very, very authentic, especially at that time, having been the movie came out like a year after Roe v. Wade. This movie also tries being political, but as like a really self-righteous 90-minute soapbox. Imagine like if the original was just nothing but like buzzwords about the abortion debate, and not at all realistic whatsoever. Imagine that, but in this movie. This one doesn't have to do with abortion. This one's more so about like the Me Too movement. But the difference between this and the original, I've seen a couple people try saying, yeah, but the original was also political. That's like saying God's Not Dead is good because Ben-Hur was also about religion. It's one movie, the original Black Christmas is a very effective, very real, thought-provoking movie about serious issues. This one is about a magical black goo found inside of a haunted statue bust that possesses frat boys into becoming raping machines. But yeah.
My God!
Yeah. They're both the same, totally.
Spoilers, I guess, for Black Christmas.
That's in the trailer.
I mean, I just saw the goo, but I wasn't aware that it was an people possessing goo.
Also, are your speakers are turned up a bit too loud because we can hear an echo through them.
Oh, mine? Let's see. It could be just the room I'm in. I don't know how to fix that.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's better now for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, I did pull the laptop closer. Maybe it was just simply doing that.
Maybe, but no. No, it's making me think of, there was a horror movie that was released a few years ago that was like a haunted mirror or a piece of furniture or something, and this just sounds like that, but Christmas and then beseeching Wes Craven's grave. Like,
I don't know what else to compare this to. Like, it was like, because like you could tell that its base was the original Black Christmas because it's a sorority. It's trying to hit on topical issues. There's the thing with a body in an attic. There's a similar scene where the cop doesn't believe what's going on. But then it kind of has a similar reveal of something like Satan's School for Girls. So it almost sort of could be a remake of either movie. Are you thinking of, was it Oculus that was about the mirror?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that was Oculus. I remember liking a lot. This is different because it's it's a slasher movie cut down to a PG-13.
Oh, so that's the worst kind.
Yeah, so everything's edited, like things happen off screen, and so you can't even come away from it saying like, well, the deaths were good. You can't even say that in this movie. It all mostly happens off screen.
Why do you make such a movie PG-13?
I don't know.
Because it was shot for an R, but was edited down for a PG-13. And when that happens with a slasher, it's insane that would happen to a slasher movie because that's like cutting out the funny parts of a comedy. Whenever you see that happen, it's largely because the studio knows it's bad. They know the word of mouth is not going to be good on this movie. They know critically it's not going to do well. And it's not going to play well with slasher movie fans. So they cut it down to a PG-13 in the hopes that just brings in a bunch of 13-year-olds to go see it to make up its $5 million budget on the opening weekend.
So when they release the director's cut, DVD, there'll be a bunch of cleavage and then just black ooze coming out of the cleavage.
Don't let it fool you. It's terrible.
Oh, but no, just it's so aggravating when there's remakes like this, especially of Black Christmas, which is a film that I think has more historical significance than anyone gives it credit for, because if it wasn't for Black Christmas, we wouldn't have Halloween. Because Carpenter talked to Bob Clark, who made the original. And keep in mind, Bob Clark also made A Christmas Story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he asked Bob, hey, would you ever want to make a sequel? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I think this is fine in itself. Okay, but if you did, what would you do? And he's like, oh, well, I would probably set it around Halloween. And then Halloween came to be. Halloween's essentially a fan film.
Yeah.
And just...
Yeah, same with, because there's Halloween, and you can tell, like, When a Stranger Calls was inspired off of Black Christmas. It tons were. And it's cool to see that it's kind of gotten... more of an audience over time as well. I know Joe Bob Briggs spotlighted it recently too. So there was I think the original was trending at one point. Even the one from 2006, which is terrible. Don't get me wrong.
There was a third one in between.
Yeah, there was. This new one that's out is the second remake.
Oh boy.
At least the one as bad as the one from 2006 is. That's one where you can walk away going like, Well, that was insane and had some crazy stuff in it and some wild death scenes and things like that. This new one, you can't even do that. You could talk about how crazy the plot goes, but again, that's in the trailer.
I'm just waiting for the day that they decide like to just I don't know, remake Silent Night, Deadly Night, but make it a PG-13 horror movie and completely take away everything that makes Silent Night, Deadly Night so good. And
there is. Well, it's not a PG-13. It's an R. There's a remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
How
it's
recent?
Just called 10 years ago, maybe. I remember a review. I remember doing a vlog on it, like maybe 8 years ago. I don't remember it being awful, but I don't remember. It seems like its connections, if I recall right, it's just called Silent Night. Its connections to Silent Night, Deadly Night are kind of loose from what I remember. I don't remember it being like a very point by point remake. I think just maybe a couple of connections here and there. Malcolm McDowell was in it. I remember that. And he was good. But I can tell you this, it's way better than the Black Christmas that's just out. It's even better than a couple of the Silent Night, Deadly Night sequels.
I just wanted to say, I was on Google and came across this beauty.
Yes!
Yeah. With Mickey Rooney playing a character named Joe Petto.
Ooh.
I guess we can say that you have a glowing recommendation for Black Christmas for the audience.
I said this in the review. I go like, when I got to the end of it, both Doug and I were just flabbergasted by it, and it was certainly fun to talk about. Like it was like we had a good time like reviewing it, certainly. So it's one of those that when it hits DVD and you get kind of high, you could probably watch this and like get some laughs out of it, because it's that stupid. When it gets to the reveal of the movie, you're like, this can't be the reveal. This has to be a joke before the actual reveal. Oh, but no.
Well, I guess I will link the. I guess I will link the review down below then.
Also, can we just say fuck you to Blumhouse for besmirching the names of Halloween and Get Out by constantly being like, yeah, we made this, because Blumhouse is one of those studios that just throws money at every shitty horror idea that they can get their hands on, and sometimes they get a hit, because they've put Get Out in front of the makers of Get Out in front of so many bad horror movies this year.
I mean, Jason Blum is a brilliant businessman, because like his movies have $5 million or under budget, so he reins these people in on a budget, and 95% of them turn in a profit. But you get a lot. You get plenty that are like The Gift or Get Out, and then you've got your Truth or Dares or Black Christmas. Black Christmas to me, I'm wondering, when I was watching it, I was wondering if they were trying to make a horror movie that was going to do for like issues of sex and sexual politics, doing that like how Get Out was with race, only Get Out is made by Jordan Peele, and this movie feels like fan fiction written by Lisa Simpson.
Oh, it's the film that she wrote for those Malibu dolls in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, but yeah, Black Christmas. It's a baked movie, baked Christmas. But what? I guess this leaves you and Jumanji, Maxi.
It's off the true. Yes. As I already subtly hinted towards by explicitly stating, I saw Jumanji yesterday, part 2.
How dare you say that I am an egocentric person, which the visual aid you bring up is a selfie of you in front of the movie poster that's slightly obscured by the light covering Mr. Jablinski's face.
It's true. In my defense, I have also lost the prepared poster I had somewhere. Oh, I found it. Okay, it's still there. I guess I can go with this one then. Fine. People might or might not recall that I was actually a big fan of the first Rock Jumanji.
Hell yeah, we went to go see it.
That's a good movie.
Yeah,
it is really good.
It's really fun. And talking about bad remakes just a moment ago with Jumanji, while it's not actually a remake, just actually a sequel, but with a very standalone sequel, the first one. Now they did a sequel to the sequel. I don't know. Next level. So.
An installment? Are you trying to find the word installment?
Nah. No, so with Next Level, one thing they found a way to freshen it up by also finding that's a nice thing that Jumanji has a strong fantasy element. They can just switch stuff up and don't really need to explain it. They're just like, yeah, the game is adapting. The game changed something for this movie. Which I'm completely fine with. By creating a new campaign, basically, they have to proceed by still having it take place in the same world as Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh no, it's the DLC.
No, it's really the next level. But no, what they did, what I liked so much in the first one was having those 4 adult actors playing basically. You get introduced to the movie with those 4 neurotic teenagers. And then suddenly they get transferred into the video game bodies of, The Rock. God damn it, I'm blanking on everybody. Every name. Jack Black,
The Rock, Jack
Kevin
Black,
Hart,
Kevin Hart, and
Amy Pond.
Amy Pond.
I'm sure she has a name.
Karen Gillan?
Yeah,
Karen Gillan.
Yes, I believe so. But then you have those 4 adults playing, at least to my suspension of disbelief, very convincingly those teenagers you got to know in the first few minutes of the movie. And they went and took this to the next level by throwing different people in the characters. I mean, if you have seen the trailer, you know what it is. I will not go more, but they throw different character, and you see it's like you suddenly see Jack Black and all of them, like Jack Hart. You see them all embody those completely different characters, and it's amazing. Damn it, I mean, if you have to seen the trailer, and you will recognize it in the movie.
I mean, you'll know 2 of them because they didn't reveal who the other 2 old people that are in it.
Okay, but just saying, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson playing Danny DeVito, like with his kind of style, and it works, and it really shows off how good they are as actors, because they can pull off playing those completely different characters, and you are like, okay, yeah, this is actually The Rock is now doing the Danny DeVito we have seen in the beginning of the movie with his mannerisms and everything, and therefore, yeah, I would say if you enjoyed the first one, this one will definitely be, I would say, it's a good sequel. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. I had a great time, that's for sure. Where I'm not 100% sure how to feel about it, at the very end, they go into sequel baiting. Like, come on, guys. You don't have to make it a trilogy. You had a nice, clean ending. You found a new arc, which is also, like with, especially since the first Jumanji was all about, even the original one, they all were about story growth of the players. That the character growth of the players. That they grow as people through playing Jumanji. So, bringing them back into the world of Jumanji in a sequel was a little bit like, okay, do they have a new interesting angle for the characters to go through? I would say yes, they did. I just hope they have enough steam for a third one. I will watch it, obviously.
I mean, I love it just means that Danny finally got to be the trash man. He's literally being played by a wrestler.
It's true. But yeah, only thing to say is, it is really a very strong sequel in the sense of you have to watch the first one. It's from the get-go, it's constantly referencing the first movie. Not having seen the first one is probably not the best way to go into this one, but then again, the first one is currently on Netflix as far as I can tell, so watch the first one on Netflix, then go to the cinema, watch this one, if you like fun.
Oh, hey, that's usually my recommendation.
Yes. Totally.
But yeah, I really do need to go see this movie. Yes. After I go see Black Christmas.
Boy, that sounds like well invested money.
Well, I mean, honestly, my priorities for the cinema are Frozen 2, since I have this giant-ass movie poster of Frozen 2 that Lauren got me, and I haven't seen the movie. And then A Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, because I want to feel wholesome. Then Jumanji, then Black Christmas. Just for pain.
Where's the Playmobil movie in that list?
Oh, you know what? Above Frozen 2, baby. I have to see the movie that probably, you know what? I would have seen it already, but every screening was just so packed with invisible people.
They are the worst.
What kills me is that apparently the animation studio that did Playmobil is the studio that does Miraculous Ladybug. So I wonder how much upping in quality did they do by getting to work on the Playmobil movie. But with media gone, it is time for the Q&A where the fans are asking us their questions for the final cast of 2020. Did anyone ask anything on the Twitter?
Yes, they sure did.
Oh, no. Okay.
Well, not too much. I only have two from good old first one from York, from Jay, who always is on the Twitters. And for all three, what was the worst fast food product you have ever tried?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, I guess any of that would just be which one ended with the most, explosive pain later.
I don't know, which left the strongest impression, one that lasted...
Yeah, explosive pain later.
Is this really the only one you take away from fast food?
I don't know, man. I eat garbage, so...
I mean, I guess I can start with mine then, which was probably not the objectively worst fast food I've ever eaten, because I recall that Kentucky Fried Chicken got me sick once. As in, I'm not sure if I want to go back there. Levels of sick.
Well, that place is now closed and condemned.
It's
so
true. It's very
maybe
true.
That was the prophecy.
I was the last customer. After that, the health inspector came.
Every person spat in your food before you bit into it. Those 11 herbs and spices were just 11 different employees spit.
Yeah.
Anyways, no. The one is to go all the way back to 2016, when after literally over a decade of of anticipation, of desire, I returned to the US the first time since 2001 to return to my favorite fast food brand, which I recalled annoying my host family in 2001, like every other week, like, can we go there? Can we go there again? I want one more go there. To the point where my host mother was like, seriously? We offered you final evening, final dinner. This is your suggestion. I was, yeah. My great return to Taco Bell. It was such a fucking letdown. I have no idea what I had. I believe the product that I kept eating over and over in 2001 when I was there in the US 4 months was some kind of wrap with little chicken balls in it. This sounds very wrong, but you get what I mean. And they didn't have it anymore. And what they have were just some oozing, unappealing Taco Bell.
The whole setup and payoff of that night was amazing because I was with this man, and we went there, and it was like night. We had to cross a highway to get to this Taco Bell. We walked there, and he's just
over a decade. I need to have it.
We're eating in this empty Taco Bell, and he just looks down at his food so sad. I can't remember if you finished it. And we walked back. At this point, I'm limping because I have blisters at the bottom of my feet. And we went back to the hotel room to watch one of the presidential debates between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And
Good times.
Oh yeah, I think we were like sunken in the bed, just like. I've never felt more out of energy in our entire lives. One's in physical pain and one's heartbroken, and we're both watching the end of the world. My God.
What about you guys? What about your worst fast food stories?
Outside of something that I wouldn't outside of something that I wouldn't like anyway, that like maybe would have an ingredient that I wouldn't ordinarily like. I remember those premium wraps from McDonald's being really bad.
Ew.
Yeah, and I love McDonald's, don't get me wrong. Like, but there's only a couple of things that I can remember them having on their menu that it was hard to get through, or I could only get through half. One was like the premium wrap, and it should have been fine. It was like a big, I think maybe chicken bacon ranch might have been it, and the ranch just tasted like soured Italian dressing. The salad shakers weren't very good. Years and years ago, when they had those salad shakers in this plastic cup, you shook the dressing, it actually tasted relatively the same, I think, as the premium wraps. That chicken biscuit from Dunkin' Donuts, I remember kind of having to power through. Same with their hash brown. Like anytime I've tried having like hot food from Dunkin' Donuts, it hasn't gone very well. And like I had to like coat the hash browns in ketchup. Same with the chicken sandwich, and I don't even put that on chicken sandwiches, but I'm like, I gotta power through this because I needed breakfast at the time. It was just really sweaty. Like I don't know how to put it.
Oh, that's such a bad way to describe food. Is a
yeah. Oh. It was all like sweaty, like it was found under an armpit.
Like Keyframe, what about your food?
Oh man, how do I top sweaty chicken? No, I mean, I guess one of them could be just more disappointment in myself was when I tried the KFC Double Down and I actually liked it, and I really hated myself for liking it.
I agree with you 1,000%. I had one of those and was like, that was good. Now I never have to have that again.
Didn't you like stack it on top of a Chicken Little?
Right? Did I?
I remember.
That sounds like something I did.
But no. Besides that, it's not a fast food item. It's a fair food, but it is one of the worst things I ever fucking tasted in my life, which was deep fried biscuits and gravy.
Oh, ooh, that sounds like it could be good.
You think, and then you let a bunch of semi-drunk Indiana people make it in the back of their pickup truck that they just put the same deep fryer they probably used to deep fry a frozen turkey with the month before. But no, fucking, there used to be a festival in my town when I lived in Indiana called the Apple Fest, and you know, they had all this stuff. They had like cinnamon rolls. They had some good shit, and they had shit like that. And this booth just had all this terrible food where it's like the cartoon of we will deep fry everything, because they also deep fry beef and I take it back. The beef and noodles was the worst fucking thing I've ever tasted. It was essentially like beef stew chunks and like those thick noodles you get in like a Lipton box soup.
Oh yeah.
And then they cooked it, molded it together into balls, froze the balls, then deep fried them, so it was like just a ball of meat and pasta. And and first of all, when you deep fry meat like that, it's going to come out as dry as a fucking bone. You get more moisture out of the bone marrow of a dead chicken than you do out of that meat. and just deep frying bread with more bread just ruins the purpose, because all the pasta just turned into a gelatinous blob. And I tried it because I was like, why the fuck not? It's raining. It's cold. Every other booth has a line that I don't want to stand under.
Yeah.
Give me the hell ball. And I tried it, and I tried not to be rude to the cooks, so I just said thank you. Walked as soon as I could tell that I was out of eye shot. It just bleh. I didn't swallow. I didn't chew. It touched my tongue, and I realized that was the moment that a part of my childhood innocence left me.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It might as well have been contained with the black ooze from Black Christmas.
Yes.
It probably would have been more flavorful than that. But there you go. There's your answer. But let's see.
Discord.
Discord. Okay. Key's big old box of Chris. Okay, Wolf, your names are getting silly. Ask Awkward. It's mad cold outside. That means people are getting sick left and right. Tell us about a time that you were so sick that you wished for the sweet release of death. Brad.
A couple of years ago, when I was coming back when I got back from a con, I had like the delirious fever. I'm like stuck in bed, like eyes rolled into the back of the head. And it was like probably spouting I might have been demon possessed, actually. It could have happened. Some kind of like voodoo curse from doing the convention in New Orleans.
So bad. Someone couldn't get their ticket into the con and just waved a stick going huda huda.
I know. Like I know, right? It's like I thought that was just a cosplay.
That wasn't a Dr. Facilier cosplay. It was real.
I was so confused though, because I was like, I don't get sick after cons much anymore, like if at all, because I've done so many. I've got like the con plague like immunity. Mm-hmm. This one, and it came on in the middle of. I was at a few different movies that night. I was supposed to see 3, but I was at The Commuter and Paddington 2. And I started getting sick after The Commuter and was like, that's when you know I'm sick, when I'm like, I can't do the third movie. So I went home and spouted some gibberish off to Laura for a couple of days. And I don't know, the plus side is I might have lost a little bit of weight after that. But that was the last time when I was really, really, really sick.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have to go too far back. I can say with certainty now that sickness has caused me to be land grounded. I was over at this guy's place last month, and I was only supposed to stay there for a week. And then we went to a burger place that we usually went to, and the burger wasn't completely cooked, and I got food poisoning. And to just describe the pathetic mess that I was I had on a long sleeve sweater that I bought because that same week they lost my luggage, so we had to go to the store the day after I landed to get me clothes, because I had one pair of clothes, and I was in like a sweater, my jeans. I took one of Max's hoodies and the blanket and was just curled up in the corner of his couch, like where you only see like my eyes because the hood is covering up the other part. And at one point, Max like got up from his computer and looked over. He's like, "Hey, Chrissy, yeah, what's the name of that one zombie in Left 4 Dead 2 that jumps at you? The hunter? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look like that." And went back to his seat. And it was so bad because I think it was like the night before it was the 2 days before I had to leave. It is when the fever hit its fucking peak, and we were playing Overcooked. We were just relaxing on the couch, and then suddenly I started shaking like I was having a fucking seizure, and it was because I had like such a bad fever. I never get fevers with food poisoning before, but I did this time.
Oh yeah.
And I was like shaking so bad that I was like, Max was concerned. I was just, I'm so cold. I felt like fucking Tiny Tim, just like, when will the heat come? Is it cold in here, or is it just me? Why aren't you shivering? Is the room getting bigger? Like, it was so bad. I've never wanted to. I was at the point of tears at some point because I'm just like, I hate feeling like this. Please make it end. Can I just wake up and I realize that I was in a total Recall-esque nightmare this whole time? Like, but that was the worst thing I've experienced in recent memory, because stuff like that, it happens so quick, then it's gone. But that time where it's there, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm there. What about you, Maxi boy?
Well, I mean, I expect you to go with the story where I was sick, but no, actually, when I...
Oh, I wasn't thinking about that.
When I was down with the sickness at one of your visits...
that was bad.
Yeah, but I was so out of it, I barely even noticed. I was just curled up in bed most of the day, complaining about not being able to eat and being hungry at the same time, and that's it. It didn't leave a lasting impression. No, my hangover from last year, New Year's, is still my most...
Oh,
the one
no,
where
I remember that.
Yes, where I literally, like, the next day, I couldn't do anything. I was just sitting on my computer desk, all curled up. I couldn't even play video games. I was too destroyed. I just had some show running on the screen. I was just drinking tea. I mean,
to give context, we did a Skype call thing and we took a shot every New Year's that a time zone happened.
Yeah, so I did I do one in honor for some time zone before Germany, or did I start with Germany?
No, you didn't. You didn't start with Germany.
So I started with a country nobody in the call was even from.
At some point, you started making up countries. You said to Atlantis at one point. Like, you were up to like 4 a.m. So how many times that must have been?
So we have Mars. We have Central Europe. Then we have Britain. I'm not even sure if Iceland is in its own or a British one. And yeah, the next one is in the middle of the ocean. Nobody lives there.
Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. I find this a completely logical conclusion. But no, it was like, I believe I drank regular, as my regular drink, I drank like a bottle of wine throughout this 4 hours. So how to top it for the midnights? I took shots of pure gin.
Oh, I've made that mistake.
No. And the sad thing is, why it probably hit me even stronger, I usually don't get hangovers at all. I feel a little bit dehydrated, which I can cancel out with a cup of tea. But no, I was so like, the entire day was suffering. Anyway, but I didn't have the benefit of being actually sick and having my mind being clouded by sickness. No, I was completely
You were
there.
fully aware of your pain.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, kids, PSA, don't drink too much.
No, just don't be Max.
I didn't know.
True.
I didn't know we could include like hangover sick. So like, no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Like, I'm gonna be 38 in a week, so anytime I don't even have to get the most drunk that I've ever been. Even if I'm like a little drunk or something like that, I will wake up the sickest I've ever been. Like, each time, like, my hangovers are like legendarily bad.
I'm sorry.
I've never gotten hangovers. I have that luck that even when I get the dumbest amount of drunk, and I've gotten to dumb amounts, I've never had a hangover.
Brad, do you hear all the jinxing happening?
What?
Do I what?
Do you hear all the jinxing happening? right now?
It's with me, and when I'm hangover, it's less my head, because I'll wake up with a headache, but I pop some ibuprofen and that'll be. With me, it's like it's stomach. It's like 12 hours of throwing up bile, like repeatedly, and like dry heaving and the sweats and all of that. Like I'm like I think my partying days are long behind me.
This sounds like New Year's. Yeah, this sounds familiar. What you said. Anyways, back to my other Twitter question, I guess. From Minigma Royal Prince. And as a true fan of the Cinema Snob, he explicitly excluded him from this question. But let's see if you can answer anyways, Brad.
Sure.
At ANY at Keyframe, how would each of you describe each other's cooperation in the realm of video games, especially with games that have the two of you working together to finish levels? Hopefully you catch on to what I'm asking. I don't know, Keyframe. What game could he refer to where we have to work together?
I don't know.
Which we have been playing for weeks.
Thank you for asking a question where our guest has no way to contribute at all. You certainly just our all-inclusive question asker that I'm not going to acknowledge the name of. Look, here's the thing. When you know someone for as long as we've known each other, cooperation is an optional thing. The most intense part of intimacy is wanting to kill each other on a daily basis, but using creative methods to take out that urge. And video games is one of the best ones.
So how would we describe our ability to cooperate in video games? I guess born out of necessity because we want to go to the next level to kill each other?
Probably, but you remember that giant, when that pipe in the ocean that was carrying all that oil went into the Gulf of Mexico? That's the amount of oil and water we are at cooperation games.
But yeah, any gaming co-op experience on your end as well at all, Brad? Or are you gaming? Any co-op games where you were able to figure out your own type of gamer? Like, are you the screw-over type, or are you actually the productive, like, hey, let's figure this out type?
Oh, no, I'm the screw-over type.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to GoldenEye. Where, I'd be playing GoldenEye, and they wouldn't even have a gun yet, or something, and I'd be like, going out of act, following behind. They'd be like, damn it, dude, I don't have a gun yet. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm shooting you now.
I mean,
so you don't get to it. Exactly. Like, I would do that. My buddy would be like, you goddamn Vietnam shooting him in the back, motherfucker.
Oops.
So that's usually how it's always been.
I've always been the type to screw people over. Like in Smash Brothers, I would play the character that just flies away from the platform and waits for everyone else to kill each other. Or in like Left 4 Dead, I'm the one that's like, hey, we're near the save point, right? Yeah. Hits car for the alarm to go off, so the horde of zombies come running by, and then keep closing the door on the other players while they're trying to get into the safe room.
You ever do this? You ever go when the crying witch is sitting there, and the character is like, look over there, the witch, and then you go, oh, okay. Has them run after everyone else in the group.
You pointed out a target for me. What did you expect me to do?
This is the shooty zombie game, right? Am I supposed to shoot the zombies? I'm just doing what the game wants me to. Wait, I'm not supposed to throw a pipe bomb over there? Oh, my mistake. I'm such
you can figure it out. It's fine.
But yeah, that was all I had on Twitter. It's all yours now, Key.
Yeah, and we're not going to answer every question because I want to have a podcast where we don't end at 2 o'clock. We've had a lot of long casts the past few weeks.
Oh, sure.
Not to mention we had a bunch of repeat offenders. Like I see 5 questions from Wolfhead.
Yeah, but I just also am trying to find just the fun BS ones because I would rather have fun than think about the future.
That is the point.
But let's see. I guess we've all had experience in this. So Luigi asks, any good tips on voice acting?
Don't be me.
Have a good voice.
Wow.
I mean, not even necessarily. It's a question that it's not what you have, but what you do with it. No, I stole my own way to describe my voice acting from Total Biscuit. Like, he can voice act as himself, or he was able to voice act as himself. So he could do his voice he usually has in his show and whatnot, and could read lines in the voice with his own intonation, but he could not do other voices or other characters than himself, and I'm basically the same.
Know how to act. I see the thing is, it's so hard to give tips about voice acting because it's just like, I mean, it's hard to give tips on acting besides just get into it, have fun, be the character. Don't, if you feel like your performance is being as stiff as wood, then there's a problem. Or you know what? No, if your performance is as stiff as wood, commit to it. Become stiffer than a board.
Go for it.
Become a goddamn boulder. Because people will remember an outstandingly bad performance more than a boring middle-of-the-road one. Yeah. Make a legacy. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
Sadly true.
Know which kinds of waters to drink to, because there's a difference in the type of water that you drink before you do some recording, and yeah, it's kind of what you just said. It's like all of that, like, and don't do things that'll throw your voice out.
Don't sing like 20 songs at karaoke before recording something.
Yeah.
Drink Mountain Dew Code Red before every recording session. At least you'll know that you'll be radical.
Are you trying to screw people over right now?
Yes, less competition. Anyways, next question. Here it is. Buzz from Chocolate asks, this year is coming to a close. Whatever. What's the time you can remember when you had to deal with people who were allergic to fun? Oh man, what was the last time you had to deal with the fuddy-duddy police? Like the worst kind of people. That's just every day I log on to twitter.com, so...
Good point.
Dude, yeah, that's my answer.
I mean, I've had to deal with... Yeah? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was like... Because in real life, I don't surround myself with people like that. But you go on Twitter, that's 90% of Twitter.
I mean, like recently, because I'm in the animation circuit, because I'm an animator, I've had to deal with just watching people fucking just rag on the whole crew of Has-Been and Hell of a Boss, and just like, and it's just such a shitty thing. Like everyone's like being like, oh, look at all this great animation in 2019. Not you though. But like everything they compare Has-Been to is like Infinity Train and Steven Universe and like studio productions. And I'm just kind of like, man, you can have your opinion on the content of the short all you want, and like you could say it's not your cup of tea. But respect for what it is as an independent production that connected animators from literally around the world, that someone independently funded. Like, don't be a shithead.
And I mean, originally this meme was with polar dogs in the middle. But then I also saw the version where they put Has-Been in the middle. And
where they put little Charlie in there. And because, like, I'm friends with the person who did the singing voice for Charlie. And I'm friends with one of the cleanup animators, Ashley, who's been on the cast. And it just sucks. And like, it's also the thing of, the problem with the internet age and the fun police is that no one has the true understanding of what goes into the things that they criticize, and they don't take the time to know. And there's a difference between being a consumer and realizing, because you don't have to be a 5-star chef to criticize food, but you should understand the basics of like what goes into cooking a filet mignon to know enough that it's not right. But like, especially with stuff like internet content creation and videos and making shorts and stories, because it's just like, there's so much work that goes behind it that you should have an inherent respect for the production itself, even if you don't particularly like the content of it. Mm-hmm. To tell people that, they're just like, no, it's just bad and I should be able to hate it because it's bad. And it's like, you need to learn to separate the story from the meta. Like, and it's less dealing with the fun police and more dealing with the idiot squad. So, but yeah, that was my tangent. And I mean, Brad said twitter.com. So what about you?
I'm trying to remember. I could swear that there was something that recently came out where I was like, hey, that was good fun. It tried to cater to a certain audience, but it still got backlash. And that's a thing that basically for any harmless thing that gets produced, and even on a professional level, if you will always have somebody who is on the other end of it, like just shitting on it for no reason, and then people get hung up on this and do not enjoy an otherwise enjoyable piece of media. Yeah, was it Frozen? Maybe it was Frozen, because I hear people also being like, But then again,
my God, the fucking shit that went around where people kept redesigning the Frozen characters, being like, oh my God, all the girls' faces look the same and like stylized. It's like, yeah, because it's a fucking animation. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why are their noses so small and their eyes so big? And then they made it better by making their faces like super angular and realistic. And I'm like, aren't you kind of taking away what makes animation?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it basically everything, every lighthearted piece of media still gets some people who come in and complain about something and suck the fun out of it, like the good old thing why we can't have fun things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have all of the media, all of Twitter, and Has Been Hotel.
The people who are mean to Has Been Hotel, not Has Been Hotel itself. Bibsy, please, I want you on this show at some point. The opinions of others are not mine.
Wait, do we have Bibsy on the list yet?
Not yet, but we will. But no, because I am slowly dying, because I am running on no sleep. I've been up for like 32 hours.
Nice.
And coffee is hell yeah. Terrible self-destructive work habits for the win. And I'm running on a little coffee. We're going to go to the last question because I'm so tired.
Damn.
A lewd but cautious fuckboy. Thank you, chat, for the worst names that you had to pick for our last guest. Brad will never be on our show again.
Ever.
Never. He was like our Santa. You killed Santa.
Next year, I'll dress like Santa Claus.
Oh.
I would.
Remind me.
I would love that.
Remind me, and I'll do it, because I'm pretty sure we got a Santa Claus outfit in the other room.
Nice.
Can we have Doug and Rob come in as elves? Like, just.
Well, there might be some elves costumes back there too.
Like they don't even talk during the cast. They're in the background on the computers editing.
Yeah.
But no. Sorry, but I'm just thinking of the situation. It becomes like December of 2020, and you come in and you're like, hey, Rob, Doug. So I'm gonna need you guys on Sunday for something. Oh yeah, Brad, what is it? Can you guys dress up as elves for this German and California girls podcast I go on once a year?
Background. We don't acknowledge them at all. We don't introduce them. We don't say who they're just sitting there working on the laptop wearing elf costumes.
Instead of elves, there's a misunderstanding and they're Elvis.
Yes. I feel like they would start to ask why, and it's just like, look, this is the ransom I have to pay once a year so the demons don't visit me. I just have to be on this show, or else
it's for good luck.
Or else the black ooze comes me. But no, Ask Awkward. Time to reflect and think back on what we have seen and weathered with media from... Oh, wait, that was just their actual questions. But, like, Ask Awkward. One last hurrah of FMK, and I think this show has earned some accolade awards. But speaking of awards, it's a somewhat award season, so we don't gotta thank the Academy for these answers. Awful. Fuck, marry, kill, the Golden Globes, the Annies, and the Critics' Choice Awards. Yes, I chose this one deliberately because we have such an esteemed and acclaimed critic among our presence, and also this might make me sound like a kiss-ass sue me. Self-aware.
Well, that's gonna be great. That compliment is great. Partnered with my next question. Partnered with my next question of what's the Annie Awards again?
The Annie Awards is the Animation Awards.
Okay, I just wanted to double check. Since I'm such an esteemed critic, apparently you didn't know what the Annies were.
What's the Annie Awards? I mean,
so,
like, I'm glad that they didn't put
Oscars
because that would have been the obvious kill. So.
Wait, which one?
Golden Globes.
Oh no, fuck, marry, kill, the Golden Globe Awards, the Annie Awards, and the Critics' Choice Awards.
Because I am not sure which either of one is really. I'm probably going last, so I can hear other answers and get an idea what I'm dealing with.
I could change it to stuff that you know, so it's the Oscars, the Golden Globes, and the Tonys. But like,
I marry the Tonys because they have NPH.
Oh god, everything can have NPH if you try hard enough.
But the Tonys, they have often NPH. They have Hugh Jackman. But yeah, they are not part of it.
People of awards.
The Tonys are not a part of it. So.
But yeah, I'll go first. Okay. Break the glass. But no. So obviously, I'm gonna marry the Annie Awards because, bias, animator, the easy choice. Usually, the people that win actually deserve their awards. And then, I guess I'll kill the Golden Globes because Golden Globes are like diet Oscars.
Yeah.
And usually, if something wins the Golden Globes, they usually win the Oscar in the respective category anyway. So I'm just saving the world from redundancy.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, I guess, fuck the Critics' Choice Awards because, I know that after said fucking, I will get a very well thorough review about my performance.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so, there. The sad thing with this one is that there's no real gold digger answer, because that's usually what I go for, just for the sake of why not. But it's just like, well, all the awards are kind of made of gold, but they're also vapid and fake, and I have no idea and all of the awards look phallic anyway, so it's like, all of them can work for everything. So, yeah, that's mine.
Brad, how about you?
Brad, because Max needs to stall for time.
I guess, kill Golden Globes because no one really likes the Golden Globes. But the Golden Globes are fun to watch though because even the celebrities really don't take it that seriously, so they're always drunk at them. So they can be entertaining in that regard, but yeah, like they can be kind of a joke. Fuck, I guess the Annies, because up until 5 minutes ago, I wasn't sure what they were. So it's like, I don't know if it's marriage material.
It's mysterious.
Yeah. And marry the Critics' Choice Awards, I guess, because, they're all like wealthy and snooty. So, the will reading is probably pretty good.
And I mean,
they can be the gold digger ones.
Yeah, and I mean, you can probably identify well with them.
Do you think that Leonardo DiCaprio, when he won his Oscar for Covenant, just went into his house with his, like, multiple shells of Golden Globes and just threw them all in the trash to put the one Oscar award, being like, it's all worth it?
Just brushes them.
So...
It's like the fucking, it's like the fucking thing from the one funny joke from Jack and Jill with Al Pacino and his one Oscar, and it's like, and Jill breaks it. It's like, wait, don't worry, I'm sure you have another. No, I don't.
Nice.
Oh, but what about you, Max?
Now to watch the blind man stumble through a field of little golden statues. Just first of all, to be the contrarian, obviously I'm not going to kill the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
So
you know what side you're on.
I know, right? So I have to, I kill the Critics' Choice Award.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the same reason that you explained why you want to have the critic afterwards to get a lot of explanation, get a lot of feedback on your performance.
Mm-hmm.
I have too fragile of an ego. I could not stand getting a sincere, hard, critical performance review, no pun intended about the heart, about my performance. On a marriage level, I mean, do I really want to be criticized for everything I do permanently? So this is also a no-go, so I have to kill the Critics' Choice Awards. Obviously, it's protected.
This was all build up for you to kill the Critics' Choice Awards?
Yes. And I killed them. I so killed them. So, now, with the Golden Globes, however, as we established, they are basically watered down wannabe Oscars. So I fuck them. Because they are really... Look, the Oscar would probably, the Academy Awards would just lay down and be like, come to me, I'm already there. But the Golden Globes, they have to work for it. So they are really sucking up, like in this context, literally. So I fuck the Golden Globes. And, well... and I marry the Annie Awards because, hey, that will be one animated marriage.
See you in 2020, folks. Bye.
Perfect.
A and Y and Key say hi to the people in the chat. The memes are seen on this live stream as they talk about random grabs. Time for awkward guests. It's the awkward. Random guests and funny gags on the awkward guests. It's the awkward. Hard work and analysis, which you do not want to miss on awkward.